Yo, yo, what up? Is JSF, and I want to just talk about some general fighting game stuff. I'm sure you can see the title of the video, but I want to talk about motion inputs in fighting games. This has been kind of a hot topic for the FGC right now. Like all your favorite content creators are talking about motion inputs, and the reason they're talking about motion inputs in fighting games is because we got a lot of new fighting games that are coming out really soon or that recently just got announced, like Marvel Tokon. Invincible Versus, and even Hunter x Hunter. Then Impact is about to come out, and then 2XKO is about to come out sometime next year, I think now. And something that all these games have in common is like, yeah, they're all versus games, so we've been talking about versus games a lot. But we also been talking about motion inputs a lot. A lot of these games are adding a simple input style mode, basically like modern controls in Street Fighter 6. And obviously Street Fighter 6 has been out a couple years, but it's still a very prominent fighting game. A lot of people are still playing it. And a lot of people don't like modern controls. Like, I don't just mean like casuals, people in the comments. I mean some of the content creators, right? Some of them have been very like open with the fact that like they want some kind of motion input. And even like with Invincible Versus, they had content creators. They had Maximilian Sajam. They had a lot of those dudes in their studio that helped them with the game. And they were like, we told them like, yeah, you should probably have some motion inputs in there. But these fighting game devs keep putting simplified inputs in the game. And the conclusion I've come to, because I am who I am, is that everybody's fucking wrong. Everybody's wrong. Now, that doesn't mean everybody's 100% wrong. I like some of the shit Maximilian says. I like some of the things Sajam says. The developers, I think, are just trying to do... They're trying to do what's going to make them the most money. And then they're kind of trying to play in the middle of like, okay, we give fighting game fans what they like a little bit. But at the end of the day, we got to do what's more accessible, what we think will bring more players in, right? Cool, nothing wrong with that. The biggest issue I have is that this is a solved issue. This issue has been solved already. In people get so stuck in their ways and so obsessed with legacy and how things have been in the past and what they did at this time, what they did at that time, that they don't want to just do the other thing that works. They don't want to try something new. They'll try something new that they feel like they discovered or that they like, that, but they won't just try what's new or what works. And the funny part about this is, like I said, Invincible Versus and Marvel Tokon are obviously far away. They're not coming out until next year. And it's June right now, so it's over 6 months. And they're probably not coming out in January next year. So those games are further out, but Arc Systems is actually the company that solved this. Like, Arc System Works has put out fighting games that literally solve this issue. And I'm not saying the issue is just do special moves as no input. If you look at a game like Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, the first one, which came out in 2020, right? That game had regular motions for special moves, but then it had simple inputs for special moves. Now this method doesn't work for every other game. This works for this game because their special moves were on a cooldown. So the trade-off was, hey, if you do the regular version of a move versus the simple input, the regular version is the regular version. The simple input version has much longer cooldown. And if you did something like EXDP with a simple input, it was a big difference in how much more cooldown you had because you did an invincible reversal, right? That was one way to do it. And then, like, as far as supers, another issue that people don't talk about when everybody talks about motion inputs, we talk about quarter circles and DP motions. Nobody talks about supers. Super inputs in Guilty Gear, super inputs in Street Fighter are one of the worst things I've ever seen about. They're just idiotic. They don't need to be like that. They're designed in a way that they're bad to do. Now, the double quarter circle is something that is legacy. And like I said, these fighting game devs get so... I don't know, they're just stuck up their own ass. They're like, this is how we've done it since the beginning, so this is how we have to do it. Like, double quarter circles were a bad idea in Street Fighter 4, they were a bad idea in Street Fighter 5, and they're a bad idea in Street Fighter 6. They've never been a good idea. It's just a bad way to design an input. It just is. And it's been like that for so long, but again, we can't keep doing what was archaic. If we were doing that in the fucking 90s, the way to do certain special moves, I was looking at Jackson's special moves in Mortal Kombat 2. He had half circles, zonk inputs, all kind of crazy weird inputs when you could have just did down, back, down, forward. Like a game like Mortal Kombat has a ton of moves that are back, forward inputs. And if you play Mortal Kombat a lot, and if you play high level neutral and have good movement, you move back and forth a lot. So a lot of times you're trying to go back and forward, then you try to whiff punish something with a command normal that's like forward or back something, and you accidentally get a special move, or you accidentally get a command normal when you want a special move, and it's like you create issues with input overlap, right? Like in Street Fighter 6, there was just a patch that came out, and I feel like I'm the only person who saw this change and understood it immediately. So in the balance patch, they nerfed a lot of things. One of the buffs they gave to Ken was making his level 2 super safe on block. And a lot of people were like, why did they make his level 2 safe? Like, why is a super safe? Why is this one safe when it's like a 6-frame reversal? Like, do they want people to use it as a reversal more often? Like, I don't think it's worth it. It costs so much resources, blah, blah, blah. And in my head, I saw that change and immediately knew, oh, this is so if you get Dragon Lash, or you're trying to do heavy Dragon Lash, you accidentally get super. This is so you don't die from that. That was the point of the change. It was when I try to do Dragon Lash in neutral, because it's plus on block, you're supposed to do it in neutral. That's why they designed it that way. They said, hey, if you accidentally get level 2, which happens all the time because there's input overlap, alright, it's safe on block now. Now that is a bad way to fix the problem. Just fix the goddamn input. That's how you really fix the problem. But again, it's like inputs have had a ton of issues, and let me get back to the solution to this before I just keep yapping. The issue obviously is they think new players can't do any inputs. They can't do quarter circles. They can't do Z motions, any of that. They need easy inputs. Cool. I hear you on that. But the thing is, if you look at a game like Dragon Ball FighterZ, when Dragon Ball FighterZ was released in 2018, after like a few months or a year or two, it was the most successful Dragon Ball game of all time. One of the most successful fighting games of all time, right? Dragon Ball is a global IP that's beloved. Of course, Dragon Ball games sell well, but that shit sold better than Xenoverse. It sold better than the other games. There was a reason for it. There were a lot of new fighting game players who played that game, right? And while I understand wanting to have an easy input scheme, I think Dragon Ball FighterZ is proof that, especially if you have a beloved IP, or IP that people are interested in, and you design the game well, that if you do inputs like quarter circles, like Dragon Ball FighterZ doesn't have any DP motions at all. They don't exist. Everything is a quarter circle. You do supers with a quarter circle, you do special moves with a quarter circle, and there's some down inputs. But they just designed their game in a way where it worked. Now, they did light, medium, heavy, special like most versus games do, but then they had certain special moves be deemed special like key blast moves, right? And then other special moves be like normal moves. So it was like what's a good example? Like a lariat, like a lunging punch would be quarter circle forward, light, medium, heavy, but a fucking beam will be quarter circle forward S, right? So like this way you can get one quarter circle forward, quarter circle back with multiple different types of moves, right? Then you can get down moves, then you can make light and medium different moves. Like, and it's not like developers don't know this is possible. If you look at Terry and Street Fighter 6, right? The same input, if you do light punch is quick burn, if you do medium punch is burn knuckle. Those are two totally different moves, but they share the same input, right? There are ways to fix this problem. Like, you don't, like, everybody's just overthinking it. And to me, you can do the Street Fighter 6 route of having classic and modern controls. That's totally fine. Or you could just not put any insanely difficult inputs in the game. No pretzel inputs, no half circle, then forward circle, no 360 inputs, no double quarter circles. Just make everything a quarter circle, and you can add an easier input, like make supers a quarter circle, make DPs, everything, just make it a quarter circle. You have the layout, like it's possible to do that. And I know some people will say, oh, that doesn't work in Street Fighter. One, yes, it does. And two, like there are other decisions they make with the inputs. And especially with a versus game, with a game that's like light, medium, heavy, S, assist, like you don't need to have all these additional buttons. Like I get that we want to have gimmicks for our games and stuff like that, but literally, if you just made it, that's all you got to do. Again, you can separate it like modern controls, but if you have easy controls and hard controls, there needs to be some kind of trade-off. Like modern controls, you lose access to some moves, which I don't fully agree with, but I understand. And if you do some of the easy inputs, you do less damage, right? My solution is just don't put any difficult inputs in the game. You don't have to. You don't have to have Z inputs. And if somebody's crying because there's not a Z input, then they don't love fighting games. They love feeling like they're doing something somebody else can do. And I think the majority of people would be okay, and I know they would be because they all play Dragon Ball. Like the majority of people would be okay if like, hey, there's quarter circles with no Z inputs. But anyway, I just wanted to yap a little bit about this. I see a lot of discourse, a lot of talk about it, like, like, oh, motion inputs, there needs to be difficult inputs. You can have difficulty without it being in the command to do a move. That isn't the only way. That's not what makes a fighting game difficult. You're not good at a fighting game because you can do a Z motion. Like, that's not how that works. Like, if that's what you think, then you're sadly mistaken. But anyway, let me know what y'all think. How do we fix the issue of motion inputs? I just say don't put all the extra inputs. I think if fans see a quarter circle input, like, or a down forward input, I think 90% of human beings who can use a controller can see, oh, press down, then forward, then a button. That's not too difficult for anybody. I was doing that at 5 years old. I was doing DP motions at 6 years old. Really? I realized at 6, let's say maybe 7 years old to be conservative, that if I hold forward and do a Hadouken motion, I got a DP. I knew that in elementary school. So, like, to think like, oh, this is too difficult for people to do, that's not true. Now, for people to consistently do DPZ motions, I totally get that. But quarter circles are dumb easy, or down forward inputs. But anyway, let me know what y'all think. Y'all agree, disagree? I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here. Y'all stay safe, JSF. I'm out. Peace.